One thing I've realized on this journey of helping people reverse diabetes is that it's not a one size fits all. What I mean is that what worked for Mr. A might not work for Mr. B. What worked for Mrs. A might not work for Mrs. B. So that's why recently I decided to test a specific method. When this particular client reached out to me, his fasting blood sugar was 250 mg/dl, and according to him, he had tried all the other methods and it was as if nothing was working for him. So when we did our consultation, I looked into his health history and everything he had done in the past to bring down his blood sugar levels. As a matter of fact, he was on metformin twice in a day, and still he still records fasting blood sugar readings in the 200s range. I mean 250, 260, as high as 280 mg/dl on some days, despite his medications. So this made me to just sit down and say, okay, these and these are the things you've tried. So I asked him, have you tried this particular method? He said no. So I said, why not let's give it a try to see if it's going to work for you. And I'm happy to tell you that when we used that method on him or for him, we were able to bring his fasting blood sugar levels down from 250 mg/dl to 95 mg/dl in just 5 weeks. Yes, 5 weeks. So you want to stay till the end without skipping any part of this video so that you'll be able to know the exact things that my client did. This new method that we employed that worked for him, and not only that, other things that he did to speed up his recovery and healing process to bring down his blood sugar level in such a short period, to the point that doctor had to tell him that I don't think you need medications anymore. Let's watch you for the next 2 weeks. If your blood sugar remains consistently normal like this, then we are going to take you off permanently and maintain on whatever thing you are doing. As a matter of fact, the doctor told him, whatever you are doing, please keep doing it because it's really, really working for you. And the best part is that he didn't buy any miracle supplements or drug or whatever. All my clients did was to change when he ate. So the new method I tried on my clients is called OMAD, or 1 meal a day. So today I'm going to break down this style of intermittent fasting and how we used it to help my clients to reverse his diabetes. So if you have been struggling with high blood sugar despite taking your meds, this video is for you, as this might be the only difference what will bring about that change that you have been craving, that you have been clamoring for. For a start, let me give you a brief history about this my client. He is a 52-year-old man living in Lagos, Nigeria. So he loved food a lot. High carbohydrate food. Bread and tea in the morning, pounded yam in the afternoon, and rice at night. So for someone who is diabetic, that was the number one mistake he had been making. Why will you be diabetic and you still be taking bread and tea in the morning, pounded yam in the afternoon, white rice in the evening? So when I queried him, he was like, yes, that since he was taking his medications religiously, he thought that he could eat anything. And that is the mistake that a lot of you Nigerian diabetics you make. You feel like, oh, I'm taking my meds religiously. I take my insulin as at when due. So that means I can get away with eating anything. So if you still continue in this line of thought, you are not going to heal yourself. That diabetes will stay with you for life, causing you complications and even cutting your life short in the process. So you really have to sit down and have a heart-to-heart talk with yourself. This is a dietary disease. You're just pumping yourself medications, you're just pumping yourself insulin. It's not addressing the root cause. So on the surface, you feel like, oh, my numbers are well controlled. my this thing is well controlled, whereas the damages are going on internally. And even in the case of this my client, he was taking meds and still recording 250 mgdl as fasting blood sugar. So that means even the meds were not working for him. Why? Because he didn't change what he ate. So that was the first thing conversation I had with him. So even though it was on metformin, his sugar remained high all through the day. He was tired all the time. His vision was getting blurry and more blurry with each passing day. And he told me, oh, he was scared of kidney failure because he heard that that's part of the complications of diabetes, which I confirmed to him. So in his defense, he was like, Coach, I've tried everything, but the problem is that I'm always hungry. So how can I now stop eating when my body is screaming for food? So I had to let him know that, see, the problem you have is not even about what you are eating. What you are eating is part of it, is even bad for your health. That's number one. And apart from that, it's not even about what you are eating alone. Another problem is that your body never gets rest all through the day. Your body never gets a break from insulin because you're always eating and eating and eating, and especially the wrong types of food. So that's where I introduced this OMAD to him. So I don't want the name to scare you because it stands for 1 meal a day. So what this basically means is that you fast for 23 hours in a day and you eat for 1 hour in a day. I know now, most of you are like, Coach, do you want to kill us? We should be fasting for a whole 23 hours in a day and eat for just 1 hour. You want to kill us? But the thing is, when you are type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic, your body has a problem called insulin resistance. And because you eat 3, some of you 4, some of you 5 times in a day, if you include the snacks that you take in between meals. So your body is constantly pumping out insulin to handle that flood of sugar that you are ingesting, that you are taking in. So one thing I want you to know is that insulin, if your insulin is always high, your cells will stay forever resistant. So by eating only once in a day, we give the body 23 hours of rest, of silence. No food means no insulin spikes. So during those 23 hours, your body finally has a chance to go into a storage room. And that storage room is your body fat and stored sugar. So during that process, your body is able to burn this for energy. And that's how my client's sugar started crashing down before it became normal. So, how do you do the OMAD, which is 1 meal a day, the Nigerian style? I'm going to teach you today. So, on day one, you don't just jump into 1 meal a day. I know you'll be eating 3 to 5 times in a day previously. So, you think you just jump into eating 1 meal a day? It's going to affect you. You're not going to be compliant because the withdrawal symptoms you experience will be so high that you will not be able to keep up with the plan. So here is what we did in the case of my clients. So the first week, he started on intermittent fasting, but the simplest form, which is the 16-8 intermittent fasting. You know, he hadn't been fasting before. So now we started with 16-8, meaning that he would eat his usual 3 meals, but within an 8-hour window. So in this case, he was eating between the hours of 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. He would eat breakfast at 10. He would eat his lunch at 1:30 to 2 p.m. Then he would eat his dinner between 5:30 to 6 p.m. So we did this for 1 week. So the second week, I extended his fasting a little bit. We changed to 24 intermittent fasting, meaning that he was fasting every day for 20 hours and then we reduced his meal to 2 meals in a day. So he would eat those 2 meals in a 4-hour eating window. So for this window, we used the 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. eating window for him. So he would eat his first meal of the day by 2 p.m. Then he would eat the last meal of the day between 5:30 to 6 p.m. So the first meal of the day were usually the one that were the heaviest. You would eat a little portion of carbohydrates, lots of vegetables, then is protein, any protein of choice. Then for the dinner, we would go for very low carb. You would eat healthy fats. You would eat soup, lots of soup with protein. Then we removed carbohydrate for the last meal of the day, which is the dinner. So we did this for the second week, throughout the second week. Then the third week, that was when we introduced the OMAD. So for the third week, he would eat his dinner between the hours of 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. So we shifted the window a little bit earlier also because we still wanted him to eat between a period of at a period of time that his body will still be able to burn it before he goes to bed. So he wasn't eating anything after 5 p.m. again. We narrowed this window to 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. So he would fast from 5 p.m. today till 4 p.m. the next day. So we didn't just jump. It took us 3 weeks to prepare his body. So if you are thinking of trying this method also, let me say that you have to do this gradually, like I just explained. But if you are on medications, please meet with your doctor. They know how to reduce your medication so that you don't just hurt yourself, because when you're fasting, your body is has a tendency to lower blood glucose levels. So if you are not using medications also with it, you can go hypo, too low. So and you don't want that for yourself. So you really have to be cautious. So these are the things, the conversations I had with my clients, and then we started reducing his doses of medication. Of course, during the period I was fasting, we didn't use any medication at all to prevent uh, him from going hypo, from going too low. So when we also tried this method, my client was not eating a mountain of eba. He wasn't eating a mountain of a plate of white rice to break his fast. So I think this is where a lot of people make mistakes. This is why a lot of people find it difficult to do the OMAD, because when you are eating, it's like, oh, all the food that you've not been eating up to the day, you want to compress it into that one meal. If you do that as a diabetic, you are going to shoot yourself in the leg. It's going to backfire, and your blood sugar will even be higher than when you started doing OMAD. So if you want to use this type of method, fasting method, to lower your blood sugar level, you really need to work with someone, with a coach who will be able to put you through the things that you need to do, because any silly mistake on your part is going to backfire on your blood sugar level and you wouldn't like it. So it will be as if, oh, the method is not even working, it's even worsening my diabetes, which is not. It is you that's the problem. You are the one that's not doing it the right way. So we make sure that we did this OMAD in the right way for my client to achieve that result. So we use the diabetes plate method, which I always preach here on this channel for my clients. You divide, I've told you, if you don't have a partition plate, divide your plate into three. Half of that plate, fill it up with vegetables. That's what we did for my clients. We would fill it up with non-starchy vegetables, all type of green vegetables, spinach, pumpkin, tete, shoko, cabbage, like that. Half of it will be vegetables. A quarter of it will be filled with protein. Then the other quarter will fill it a little, like maximum of a cup of cooked food that contain starch. So this was what we did. And because of course we knew that, oh, you've been fasting for long, if you want to break your fast, then you don't just go directly to digging into the carbohydrates on your plate. Your blood sugar is going to spike. So this was what we did in the case of my client. Whenever he wanted to break his fast, this is what he would always, either he used two either I added 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar into his water and drink it immediately, like 5 minutes before he ate his food, or he added 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk into a glass of water and he would drink it 15 minutes before having his meal at all. So this was to prepare his stomach. That psyllium husk, if you have access to it, I recommend it. But if not, you can also use ACV. That psyllium husk will just act like a fiber to prepare your tummy before you start eating at all. That ACV also will help to prevent a sharp blood sugar spike when you eat eventually because you'll be fasting for a long period of time. So when he wanted to eat, all he did was start eating his vegetable first. He would eat his vegetable. The vegetable on his plate, he would eat like half of it first. After that, he will go over to eat half of the protein on his plate. After eating them, that's when you will now start touching the starch or the carbohydrate food on his plate. So we did all this to make sure that he wasn't experiencing a dramatic or sharp blood sugar spike or a shoot in his blood sugar due to the fact that he had been fasting all day. And mind you, if you want to do this, you go in 100%. You cannot drink tea during the time that you're fasting because I know some of you are funny. You'll be like, oh, coach, what about me drinking tea? And let me be like, some will say, oh, can't I drink tea with milk, no sugar? No, you're not to take milk, creamer, sweetener, or anything. All you'll be taking during the 23 hours of fasting is plain water. You can take green tea, you can take your black tea, Lipton, without creamer, without sugar. Because anything with calories would break your fast and stop the healing that you're supposed to be getting during that 23 hours of fasting. So apart from the fact that my clients will best the diabetes in this short period of time. He also told me a lot of improvement that he saw in his body. He said he used to have back pain, but he realized that from day three, when he started it 1 meal a day, those pain just vanished. That back pain, he wasn't feeling it again up till this moment. Apart from that, his vision got clearer. You will recall that I said at the beginning of the video that he was already having blurry vision. He said his vision got clearer. He could see clearly that it wasn't that before that time, anything that is too far from him, he couldn't see from afar again. His vision cleared, he healed himself. Apart from that, he said he realized that even during the fasting hours, he had thought that he would just be lying down on his couch and not be able to do anything the week. He said, but to his greatest surprise, he realized that he was even more energetic during the fasting hours. Not only that, his hunger reduced. Before, during the time that I was eating three, four, 5 times in a day, he used to get hungry between meals. But the moment he started that 1 meal a day, he discovered that his hunger level reduced. That if he's not getting close to his eating window, he didn't even feel any hunger pangs again. So that's why you tell people intermittent fasting, 1 meal a day will do a lot for your body more than even blood sugar. There are other some perks, some benefits that you enjoy. That's why personally I don't eat more than 2 times in a day. There was a time I would eat 4, 5 times again a day. I would eat 4 to 5 times a day. And I did that up to the point that I got diagnosed with diabetes. So but from the time I started taking my health serious after reversing diabetes, I discovered that I don't eat more than twice a day. And I would tell people, I do tell my clients, you really don't need to eat more than 2 times a day. If you can, 1 time is okay. If you can't, maximum 2 times in a day. You don't need to eat 4, 5 times in a day. You don't need it actually.
So, overall, after 3 months, when my client went back to do his blood work, this was what happened. He stayed on this for 5 weeks. Then, after the 5 weeks or so, we continued up until the 12th week. So, after that, he went to do his blood work, to do his HbA1c, and you wouldn't believe it. That is HbA1c went down from 8.2% to 5.2%. That's great. Not only that, he lost 12 kg of body weight and lost a lot of inches from his stomach. He lost belly fat in the process. And as a result of that, his doctor had to reduce his medications drastically and told him that, look, come back in the next 2 weeks. If your blood sugar levels have remained stable, then we might have to take you off these medications totally. So, my client wasn't killed by a drug, he got killed by giving his body time to rest from food, time to heal naturally. So let me give you one bonus tip. I think one of the reasons a lot of people run away from fasting for a long period of time, like OMAD, is because you feel headaches and you feel dizzy. So these are the normal part of fasting, and the reason is because when you fast, your body flushes out water and salt. So one thing you can do is to get a pinch of sea salt or Himalayan salt and put it under your tongue, air, or you drop it in the water that you want to sip all through the day. So when you do any of this, it will help to prevent those headaches and those dizziness. Then you'll be fine during the period of time that you're going to be fasting, so that you can reap your benefits and get your healing fast. So, like I said earlier, this is not for everyone. If you know that you can't go for such a long time, long period fasting, please stick to your 3 meals a day with the 16-8 fasting that I usually advise. Then, by following our diabetes reversal meal plan, we have the link to get it on our bio. The link to get it is on this channel's bio, so you can get yours on Seller, or you can send me a WhatsApp message to get yours. So when you follow this meal plan coupled with the 16-8 intermittent fasting, you're going to see results and also be able to put type 2 diabetes in remission. But like I said at the beginning of the video, you've tried out this method and you've done the 16-8, you're on 3 meals daily, and you see that you are not getting the results that you want, you might want to give this particular method that I explained in this video a try and see if there would be a change. Once again, it's not for everyone, like I said. And if you've been doing it on your own and you've not been seeing visible results, you need someone to hold your hand. You need a coach. Comment coaching in the comment section. And if it is the diabetes reversal meal plan that you need, comment meal plan in the comment section, and let's take it off from there. So I know today's video has been super helpful. You don't need to get skip it. Kindly give the huge thumbs up at this moment. Kindly share it within your circle. Share it with your uncle, your aunt, your brother, your sister, your parents that are suffering insulin resistance, pre-diabetes, or type 2 diabetes. You never can tell whose life you might be saving next. So kindly share it within your circle once again. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. I would love to answer your questions. I would really, really love to shed more light on whatever your concerns are concerning putting type 2 diabetes into remission naturally. Stay healthy, and I will see you in my next one.